Good morning. I'm Niquette Hunt, the founder and CEO of Candesant Biomedical, the makers of Brella, the new option for sweat control. Now, everybody sweats. And in aesthetics, about 58%, more than half of aesthetic consumers, are bothered by their sweat. And that's because it's got a dramatic quality of life and impact. People have to change clothes, think about it. They're bothered in general, and they're looking for new solutions. And existing products, while they work, and they work quite well, what we found was existing consumer satisfaction was really low. And when we dug into this data, what we realized is for quality of life conditions like sweating too much, consumers are incredibly intolerant of side effects, pain, downtime, inconvenience. So not only did we have to develop a product that was safe and efficacious, which is the price of entry, but we had to do so in a way that was really accessible to the consumer. And we think we've done that. Brella is a non-invasive topical patch used in an in-office procedure, minimal downtime, no discomfort, significant sweat reduction, and with a single treatment, you get 3 to 4 months of duration. The way it works is based on the principle that alkali metals, like sodium, when they touch water, generate energy. And we deliver our product. This is actually a sample, not a real one, of our actual medical device delivered in a patch that is placed on the surface of the skin, and when it's placed on the surface of the skin and the patient begins to sweat, the patch delivers a tiny bit of energy to each and every sweat duct that's sweating. So you get a microthermal injury at the point of sweat. The procedure itself is very straightforward and simple in the office and delegatable. You clean and dry the underarm, you place the patch on the dry underarm, you remove the patch, and because there's still sodium left on the patch, you deactivate the patch with the kit that we include, and then you throw the whole thing away. We're FDA cleared, and as we went through the FDA clearance process, the FDA's major concern was safety. And our safety profile is incredibly favorable, with more than 80% of consumers not having any side effects, and we were tough on ourselves. Even redness that lasted more than a couple of hours was considered a side effect, and the vast majority of consumers had no side effects, and we had no serious or severe AEs, and all of the AEs resolved with no sequela. In terms of efficacy, we had to follow those FDA-defined endpoints. So we had to both quantitatively and qualitatively prove that we reduce sweat. And we did that in an FDA study, and we saw the duration of effect was about 3 to 4 months. But as we go into the marketplace, we really need to translate those quantitative benefits into meaningful consumer benefits. So we actually, in our pivotal study, measured those consumer benefits like, are you confident? Are you frustrated? Are you bothered? Do you avoid activities? Do you have to change your clothes? Do you have to take multiple showers? And each of those attributes are really important to consumers, and we showed quantitatively that we had improved quality of life measures at the primary endpoint, which is 4 weeks, and we sustained that change at 12 weeks, which is the 3 months, which is when we stopped monitoring. So we see that sustainable, consumer meaningful benefit throughout the life. We also have indication that while not everybody is bothered by odor, those consumers who were bothered by their odor saw a significant improvement after they were treated with Brella. So shifting gears, as we look at the market opportunity for sweat control, we're brand new to the market, and we're moving slowly to really develop that market and understand how to launch this new sweat control product into this marketplace. We are laser focused on that target in the aesthetic practice. More than half of aesthetic consumers are bothered by their sweat. They tend to be younger than the typical aesthetic consumer, so most of them are in their 40s or less. Even though they are in the aesthetic practice, they've never talked to their doctor or provider about sweating, and the majority of them are undiagnosed. But they're in the practice and they say things like, I've got to wear my deodorant multiple times a day. I worry about breakthrough sweating. I worry about wearing white shirts. I worry about these professional situations. And so how do we translate those worries that they have in their minds into actual action at the practice. So how we're going to market is really giving practices the tools to drive conversion by asking the very simple question, is this you? Do you recognize yourself? And when we put this kind of marketing into practices, we see that a nice majority of consumers raise their hands and say yes, and it's an easy add-on to an existing treatment. We're also gaining tons of credibility externally, not only with physicians at conferences, but equally importantly through consumer-facing outlets like the Allure Breakthrough Beauty Award, Glamour, the New Beauty Award, and more to come that is coming soon. So as we think about approaching the marketplace, we're really being measured as we go to market and developing this playbook for success, because we know that you only get the first chance to make that first impression. So we're helping practices identify the consumers in the practice. We're giving them the tools to really recruit those patients into the treatment. We're making sure that outcomes are clinically consistent with the clinical study. And finally, making sure there's an economic business model for the practice, the patient, and the company. So thank you so much. It's Brella. Finally, sweat has met its patch.